Jurassic Park has a lot of deaths. I mean, it's a Hollywood show with dinosaurs. There's bound to be people getting eaten by said dinosaurs, but some people get more than just eaten. They get tortured. When it comes to the novels, the movies don't hold a candle to the book's level of brutality, but there are still some deaths in the movies of this trilogy that would make the average person choose a bullet over what's about to come. Imagine being crushed and then torn in half while still conscious. Or what about having acid thrown into your eyes while your innards leave your body? In today's episode, I'm going to be looking at the most brutal deaths in this franchise, well, in my opinion at least, because with this many people are going to have different views. If you want to have discussions about this sort of stuff, join my Discord in the description, and hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 100k before the end of the year, and I can't thank all of you guys enough for your support. I think we went from 30-something thousand in February to now almost 80,000. By the way, if my voice sounds off, I apologize. I'm on vacation at the moment and somehow got sick again, so yeah. Anyway, I think I've bored you all long enough, let's get on with it. Starting off, we have Eddie Carr's death. This guy is the most hated character by the writers in not just the movie but the book as well. He's the most wholesome guy, always putting the main cast first, helping them with whatever they need without a second thought. In the novel, he got brutally eaten alive by a pack of raptors trying to save the children, and in the movie once again he gets a brutal end trying to help the main cast. In the Lost World movie, he was a field equipment operator that wanted to play hero and got severely punished for it. Malcolm and Sarah were about to fall to their deaths when the RV was slipping towards the edge of a cliff, so Eddie decided to go outside and attach a winch to the Mercedes and prevent them from falling off. I mean, my boy was running all over the place, getting dragged into the mud and more in hopes of saving his friends. Unfortunately, all this caught the attention of the power couple of the island. Buck and Doe pulled up to investigate all of the commotion, just to tear off the roof. Now, Eddie could have tried to hop out and run away to save himself, but he just kept his foot on the pedal so the car would reverse and give Malcolm and the others more time. Sadly, like the novel, his bravery is rewarded with even more suffering. He is grabbed by the leg by Buck and then shaken for a few seconds, then bitten on the head where Doe then comes in and tears him apart. The bite to the head almost insta-killed him, but imagine having your legs crushed by a hydraulic press with teeth as you're flung around and then torn apart. If there's anything positive you could say is that he died faster compared to the novel. Regardless, in both iterations his kindness was met with uncomparable suffering. Next up is speculative, but an animation from Chronotagon made me honestly think that he could have died somewhat similar. So Ray Arnold was forced by having to shut down the entire system and then turn it back on. Ray was against this because he thought it wouldn't come back on, but luckily for him, it did. Unfortunately though, he decided to go alone into the maintenance shed, where he was never seen again. Well, we do see him again, but not all of him. After Ellie goes and tries to look for Arnold, she suddenly feels an arm on her shoulder and notices that it is Arnold. Although when she pulls it, that's all there is. The rest of the body is gone. If this ain't a first class ticket to go into therapy, then I don't know what is. So we do know that during the system outage these things did escape and killed Arnold. Hell, one killed Muldoon too. We don't see the manner in which he's killed, but for his arm to be completely severed and on top of a random place, man, it's gotta be gruesome. In his video, the raptors were full on malicious and very intelligent. Don't know if they were that malicious, but they are to a certain extent. The big one, Loki, smiles at Muldoon after he found it was a trap before killing him, and in this animation a raptor took a park worker called Sam and tortured him basically enough so he wouldn't die. It wanted its cries for help to lead Arnold to the raptor, and the moment Arnold showed up to the raptor, it just brutally killed Sam.
Sam! Sam! Sam?
Then it begins to pursue Arnold. With how self-aware these animals are, I wouldn't be surprised if they somewhat took their time with Arnold. Like, I'm sure they knew exactly where he is, but instead played with him a bit. Going off the way how some of these things kill in the novel, I honestly think Arnold was eaten alive and then torn apart, but ultimately died relatively quickly due to blood loss. Other people died to raptors in the film, but none have been literally torn apart. The only other raptor death that would come somewhat close to this was the one from Jurassic Park 3, paralyzing the desk and then snapping his neck. But look on the bright side, part of Arnold got to see Ellie again. This is definitely the most brutal way someone has been taken out in Rebirth. Bitch here was the Eddie Carr of this movie. My boy was risking his life to save the main cast and got annihilated for it. When Zora and Henry were trying to retrieve some Quetzalcoatl's eggs from the nest, one of the parents came back and went absolutely ham. And it was just about to murk him, but Bitch here instead tried to throw a musketeer at the thing. He then immediately stops its assault and turns around to see who dared to throw something at it. This massive pterosaur came outside and eventually found Bitch climbing up the cliff wall. Now the next part is eerie as hell. He starts to climb up the wall like Spider-Man, and as the scene cuts to Duncan pulling up Bitch, we all assume he's gonna come back up, but all we see is legs followed by a massive beak surfacing. This thing has a 6-foot tall man in its beak and then swallowed him whole. Unlike the minions Quetz, this one is more built. It gave up wingspan and length for weight and bulk. So Bitch wasn't stopped. The thing grabbed him and began to swallow him, but also had to climb up when the rope was being pulled. The dude could have died in two ways. The first, which is arguably the worst out of the pair, he was suffocated before being crushed. So my guy was fighting for his life trying to breathe while looking down the esophagus of a giant crack stork. The second way he could have died was being crushed by that beak. Beak structures that look like this aren't usually stronger when it comes to bite force. Usually shorter beaks like raptors are known for that. However, something like the hornbill can break this stereotype. But the Quetz is massive, so even with the beak shape it would be able to break bones if it bit hard enough or fast enough. Not to mention some parts of the beak have serrated edges, so another way this guy could have went out was by internal bleeding after everything in his body was crushed and vital organs were pieced by the broken bone matter. Once again, this goes to show why you should only be thinking about yourself in this franchise. Okay, so I think the last one is what at least half of you were expecting. Just because his killer got shrunk in the movie doesn't mean his death was any less brutal. In the novel, Dennis Nedry dies at the jaws of an adult Dilophosaurus that tortures him. This thing blinds him, slits his stomach open and then leaves him on the floor still alive. Weird then grabs him by the skull and lifts him into the air. I don't think the movie death was that cruel, but damn was it bad. I'll not just think because it's smaller that it's not that bad. I'd like to argue that it's worse in some cases, to be honest. Most of us know the whole story. Nedry caused a power outage so he could illegally sell dinosaur embryos, but on his way he didn't focus and runs down a small hill and gets stuck in the mud. So he tries to go out and attach a winch to pull his vehicle out, but in doing so he's being watched by a Dilophosaurus. At first it was all fun and games, you know, him playing a bit of hide and seek with a little demon. If it was me, I might have bolting back to the car or drop kicking the little bastard, but Nedry wants to play peekaboo with it and eventually falls down, but as he's trying to be nice to the thing, it opens up its frill and partially blinds him with a tar-like venom. He does make it back up to the car, but it somehow snuck in before him and then just mauls the dude. Now this is a small animal with not very powerful weaponry, so Nedry's death was slow in this one. You may be asking, how did it kill him then? Like bro, he wheezes when he walks to the car and back and weighs like 400 pounds. The Diloph would have been tearing at his neck and abdomen like a pit bull when it seizes an unattended child, and then just starts tearing. May just be me, but I think being eaten alive while you could somewhat see and feel your intestines being torn open is a hard way to go. But that's just about it. I'm sure a lot of you would have this ranked in a different order, probably even have some deaths that completely replace this list. And if you do, let me hear them in the comments. But to me at least, these 4 are the absolutely worst ways folks have died in this franchise. But that's just about it guys. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.